Hello everyone, I am motorsports videographer Devin Mello, and I'm here to help guide you through a typical race weekend and what it's like to take part in a national NASCAR touring series. So sit back, strap in, let's drop the green flag. The first thing that you need to know is that there are 4 major national touring series in NASCAR. The ARCA Menard Series, the Camping World Truck Series, the Xfinity Series, and of course, the Cup Series. One good analogy for this is how baseball works. You have your major leagues and you have your minor leagues. It's the same thing with NASCAR. The Cup Series being the major leagues, and then your subsidiary series like Xfinity, Camping World, and ARCA are your minor leagues. The 4 different series share a bunch of similarities to each other in how the race weekend functions and how the teams operate. The cars are fast and sophisticated and require a certain level of expertise in order to operate and work on them properly. But before we get to all that, we first need to get to the track. The best way to do that is with a hauler. What's a hauler, you ask? Well, a good way to look at it is a mobile command center on wheels. It consists of a purpose-built 18-wheeler, often built with 2 separated floors in the trailer. Inside the trailer is anything that the race team could need on a given race day. That includes spare parts, springs, radios, even food. During the week, teams will prepare the race cars and the spare parts and load them into these haulers to prepare for the trip to whatever racetrack they may be racing at that week. Of course, no tracks are identical, so what the team loads into the hauler differs from week to week.
A lot of times we run different suspension parts, different engines, different tailpipes and brake systems at different tracks.
Once everything's loaded up into the hauler, it's time for the team to head to the racetrack. Sometimes this means traveling cross-country or just down the road, like here at Charlotte Motor Speedway, where most teams are based. As with all series in the national circuit, the teams will usually arrive the day before the race or even a few days before so that they can unload the trailer and be prepared for the weekend and not have to do it all in one day. For the ARCA Menard series, this is usually done the night before. The hauler will pull in and park, and then the hauler is left there overnight. The team will then return early in the morning the next day to start prepping for the race. Usually on race day, the team arrives at the crack of dawn, sometimes even before the sun comes up. The first thing that they're going to do is start unloading all the equipment from the hauler. Some of the key items that they'll unload first are things like the pit box. A pit box is a very important piece of equipment to any NASCAR team. It contains spare parts, tools, and anything else that the team may need in order to work on the cars from the track. They usually store this on the bottom floor and roll it out first. If anything else needs to be unloaded from the bottom floor, usually they'll remove that next, and then it's time to unload the car. The cars are generally stored on the second level above the walkway on the bottom floor. The rear gate on the trailer actually acts as an elevator that they can roll the car out on and bring it down slowly to the ground. Once the car is unloaded, it's time for the team to go to work. One of the most crucial parts of the entire weekend happens before any cars even hit the track, and that is tech inspection. In order for NASCAR to ensure that all cars are within compliance with the rule book, they have to go through an inspection process. This is done in different stages, and there are some differences between the series as to how they're conducted. In the ARCA Menard series, they still use templates. These templates are built specifically to match the rule book for the series. Each car undergoes testing with these templates to make sure the body styles are in compliance and any other loose ends are tied up. In the higher level series, things get a little bit more serious. For example, in the Cup Series and the Xfinity Series, they use the Hawkeye system. This is a digital and highly revolutionary piece of equipment. Each car is rolled into the tent and then scanned electronically to make sure that the car is within compliance. It is not uncommon for race teams to fail inspection first time through. In fact, oftentimes cars will fail inspection multiple times a weekend. If a team fails inspection once, they'll be asked to go back and make adjustments so that the car is in compliance. If a team fails inspection multiple times, there may be penalties and even fines involved. Once the car passes inspection, it's cleared to go on the racetrack. Every race weekend comes with practice. Because the teams travel all around the country and are never at the same place more than twice, they often need to get reacclimated to the racetrack that they're at. So practice is there to make sure that all the teams can perform at a top level and make sure their equipment is performing properly. Practices come in sessions and usually last around an hour. The team will use this time to try to work on the car to make sure that it's performing at its absolute best. The driver will use this time to get acclimated to the racetrack or to work on some setup changes that they might have as a preference for how the car will handle. If the team and driver are both happy with the way the car is performing in practice, that means it's time to set up the car for qualifying. Qualifying is a difficult part of the race. It's very tense, it's fast-paced, and it's extremely difficult. The cars are given their starting positions for the race, and next will be the pre-race ceremonies. Pre-race ceremonies are a big deal in NASCAR. There's often a lot to them. For example, you may have to go to an autograph session or a meet and greet. This is a great way for fans to get involved and meet the drivers. Usually following the autograph sessions is the driver intros. Depending on the race that you're at, there may be a stage in which the drivers get introduced one at a time. They'll walk across and wave at the fans, or they may just do them at the side of the car. Once the drivers have been introduced, in NASCAR, they do what's called an invocation. A pastor or religious leader will say a prayer to bless the event and pray for the safety of the drivers.
Lord, I want to thank you for my smoking hot wife tonight, Lisa. My two children, Eli and Emma, or as we like to call them, the little E's. Lord, I pray you bless the drivers and use them tonight. May they put on a performance worthy of this great track. In Jesus' name, boogity, 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 amen.
Following the invocation, as with all sports in the United States, they will sing the national anthem. This is also often accompanied with a pretty cool flyover. Once the national anthem is finished, drivers will climb in their cars, and then it's time for the most famous words in motorsports.
Gentlemen, start your engine!
Once the command has been given, the car's engines are fired, and it's time to roll out for the race. Now, we're not going to get into all the details on how races run or what goes on during the duration of them, but one of the cool things that we want to talk about is the pit stop. Now, the number of pit crew members has changed over the years, but as a general rule, there's 2 tire changers, 2 tire carriers, a jackman, and a gasman. The pit crew members will wait for the car to pull off the track and pull into their pit stall. This is often done under caution or even during green flag conditions. Pit crew members are highly athletic, extremely specialized individuals. In most NASCAR series, if you finish well, you generally have to go to post-race inspection. This is to ensure that nobody's made any illegal changes to the car while the race was going on. If the car passes post-race inspection, the team will clean up all the equipment, will reload it into the hauler, pack the hauler up, and leave to head home. Hopefully, with a little hardware to show for it. Well, I hope this helped you understand a little bit about what goes into a NASCAR touring series and what it takes to get to the track and succeed.